the beautiful people, the beautiful people, the beautiful people. Aye, you, what do you say? Something beautiful is not that great. Aye, you, hey, what do you say? Oh, look at us, we've got a fifth stage. I'm John Renton with the retro review of WWE Smackdown from August 16, 2001. That terrible rendition of The Beautiful People, I would have shot my voice if I tried to sing it like Marilyn Manson. Good thing I don't want to be like Marilyn Manson, given some of the shit that he did that came out a number of years ago. But anyway, this is the go-home show for WWE SummerSlam 2001, and it was certainly a show that existed. There were actually some decent moments. One promo segment that really had no business going as long as it did, even though it had a decent payoff. It also had a swerve, I guess, because everybody had to leave the Alliance and then rejoin the Alliance and then leave the WWF and rejoin because they had no idea what they were doing with the entire fucking invasion angle. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. So, Michael Cole and Heyman on commentary. Why? Because Taz got whipped last Raw. I almost said last week. And, well, that wasn't gonna, fly with him because he was gonna show up later. He was gonna get at Austin, but we had Cole and Heyman on commentary, so at least we had one commentator and Michael Cole. So it was kind of cool, though, that they had the debut of the fifth stage, and yes, this was the debut of The Beautiful People as the theme, and it was always weird how they did that in, mid-2002 when Hulk Hogan was part of the SmackDown intro, and I never really thought that The Beautiful People fit with Hulk Hogan. So anyway, Shane arrives, and Utah is famous for two things. Number one is polygamy. He's not wrong. And also the Utah Jazz. But unlike the Utah Jazz, well, they don't win championships. But Booker T knows how to hold a championship and defend it. He's also not wrong. He also knows that the Utah Jazz picked some bad players like Karl Malone. Read up about Karl Malone. Yeah, noted piece of shit. The guy's a fucking scumbag. Anyway, so he talks about what they did to The Rock on Raw. And then calls out Booker T, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. And finally, the Book has come back to Utah. He's ripping off all the Rock stuff and everything. Says the Rock took everything from him. Because everything he wanted, that's the way he needs it. Everything he wanted. And Rock is suddenly here. Then Rock goes over what Booker did to him. So Shane and Booker left, by the way. They opened the show. And he talks about the bookend. Nah, it's the Rock bottom. And then here's Booker and Shane again. This was practically the Rock, Booker, and Shane show because they bookended the show, ironically, by being in the opening two segments and then also at the end. And then here's Shawn Stasiak to say, hey, don't face Rock, let me handle him. And then Shawn Stasiak got laid out with a few fists in a rock bottom. I think it was 30 seconds, if that. It was longer than the Eric Rowan match at WrestleMania 32, but this is also before Rock became the most jacked up, Hollywood action star this side of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And has more money than the goddamn federal government, Disney, and God put together. So the Rock and Stasiak, it was hilarious. He says, hey Booker, why don't we have a lights out match? Now, lights out stipulation isn't necessarily foreign to wrestling. It has been done in various territories. I don't know if WWE has done one, at least on TV at this point. They might have done them during the WWF days. That's a lot of fucking W's. But the lights out match. No rules, no alliance, no WWF. Booker says, you're on. Gee, I wonder if somebody's going to interfere. Hey, Shane, you want to go interfere in that to just wreck the fans' expectations of getting a clean finish? Sure, I'll do that. So then this took a while. I don't even really think The Rock versus Stasiak necessarily counted because the bell rang and then the bell rang, as Roddy Piper said about his match with Larry the Axe Hennig. Tajiri and Regal took on X-Pac and Albert. X-Pac sucks chances, basically to hype up X-Pac versus Tajiri, the unification match for the light heavyweight and cruiserweight championships. And later we get a Baldo bomb on Tajiri 1, 2, 3. So that was it. And then Austin does the whole what thing with Deborah and then calls Earl Hebner in because apparently Austin has autonomous power, if you will, missed opportunity to say that, and says, hey, take this clipboard. And what, and then says, go to the WWF locker room and whoever signs it first can have a match with me for the first ever Austin Invitational. So then he goes there and Kurt Angle signs it first and everybody else signs it. And Edge and Christian are talking. Edge says, I should sign that, because I want to beat up Austin. And Christian says, well, we have a tag title match against Canyon DDP. Maybe you shouldn't be so selfish. Planting more seeds and everything. Who doesn't love the seed planting among two brothers? Gross. Funny how they forgot to, or just ignored that they were ever brothers when Christian came back after his stint in TNA. His terrific stunt. Well, he did terrific stunts in TNA as well, but terrific stint in TNA. which is now, yes, Impact Wrestling, just for the people that want to get all upset because the letters TNA resonate more than Impact Wrestling because TNA actually drew pay-per-view buy rates. So anyway, Ivory is then yelling at Stacy and Tori saying, I can keep you safe and toughen you up to survive in the world of professional wrestling. And they're going to take on Jacqueline, or Jaqueline, as Derb would say. Thank you, Derb. I will never unhear that. And Lita on a heat match just before SummerSlam. Because why the fuck not? Why was Trish not involved in this? Or did it end up becoming that? I actually should have read the SummerSlam results, but I didn't give a shit because as much as I like Ivory, much as I like Lita and Trish, Stacy and Tori were never wrestlers, and they really should have never been in the ring, and they knew that. But I don't know, that's what they thought of the women's division at that point. So then we get recaps of Austin whipping Taz on Raw, because that's what we need to see. A Southern Caucasian man whipping a minority, 12 years of Stone Cold. So we cut to Austin, Deborah, and Earl has the list, and then does the what? What? He's like, get out of here! The what chant continues to live on, and it's kind of poisonous sometimes. Then Taz on commentary yells at Heyman, and then knocks Austin and all that and everything. Heyman says, Austin, Taz has been knocking you. So, this is, you really should go beat him up. But don't worry about him, actually. You can just do this. You're going to beat Kurt Angle. You can beat whoever tonight. He says, hey, I want to find the first name on the list. And he had seen the list earlier and saw it was Kurt Angle. And he flips it upside down. Sky Too Hotty. So he calls out Sky Too Hotty and berates him repeatedly. To the point this was going really, really long. I don't mind trying to make, somebody a hated heel. Even though nobody wanted to boo Austin, they were booing the fact that he was trying to get booed. Because they're like, this is not what we want. This is not the Stone Cold we knew. This is not you. You're trying too hard. We don't like it. And it was a bad idea. Because, again, nobody wanted to fucking boo Austin. So he's like, you remind me of Kurt. I smell the fear on you. He calls him Kurt a lot. This is going forever. And then when I start pounding you this Sunday, you're going to beg me to stop. He probably said the same thing to Deborah, in all honesty, because once again, Stone Cold Steve Austin is a domestic abuser, and people just want to ignore that. And I'm just going to say that I'm not going to forget about that, as much as Austin is one of the greatest of all time. There are some great wrestlers and great box office attractions that were noted pieces of shit. So anyway, you're going to bleed for Stone Cold, for the Alliance, for the WWF. I'm going to pound your head until it's bleeding. All right. So that's it. Scotty then, by the way, finally fires up after about 20 years of berating. Goes, the Bulldog, goes for the worm. Austin beats him up, hits a stunner. And then, we get Angle here. And he's attacking Austin. And suddenly Taz is here cheering him on and then locks on the Taz mission. It was a swerve. See, when a Southern Caucasian man whips a minority, that means that he loves him, I guess. And I guess that's what's working in the world of professional wrestling. And there we go. So Crash, Billy Gunn, and Hardcore run out and run them off. And Angle then later says that he's going to take Austin down at SummerSlam, but Taz will go first. RVD and Rhino with Stephanie versus Jeff Hardy and Chris Jericho. SummerSlam hype for the two respective matches. And it wasn't bad. It at least had a nice pace to it and everything. The crowd was into it. We got a hot tag to Jeff, a melee, and then here's a ladder. The referee somehow was distracted for about, 25 years. And then a ladder into Jeff's head. 5-star frog splash. 1, 2, 3. And then Jericho basically dodges Rhino's gore. Tries to get Stephanie, but she gets pulled out among two men, as she's known to, be around. So anyway, that was needlessly mean. So then Taz says that he will beat Angle. He beat Angle at 2000 Rumble. He will beat him again. Beat me if you can. Survive if I let you. This went nowhere because they really weren't going to utilize Taz all that well because he had the neck injury. Or the neck issues that would lead to his retirement about 8 months after this. But you know what? He became a hell of a commentator, and he was able to have a successful, second half of his career, so that's good. So then Jeff says, hey, I'm holding ice on my mouth, but this is going to be a hardcore ladder match. Let's take the ladder and ascend it up there. And yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that match goes. I know how it goes. RVD wins. It's actually a pretty good match. It's wild, but it's pretty good. And then they do another ladder match with Edge and Christian at No Mercy 2001 because oversaturation is the key to burnout. Edge and Christian took on Kane and DDP. Who better and who more annoyed with these ref bumps than, any fan that was watching at this point. WWF Tag Team Championship match. Kanyon was underappreciated, so was DDP. But he was just neutered at this point because we're about 2 months in this goddamn thing. And that whole DDP stalker angle was shit. The ref gets pulled out. And then Concerto stopped by Lance. Christian chases him off. Canyon covers, but just for 2. Oh no, then the ref's distracted again because Nick Patrick is distracted by, seemingly anything that is not, right in front of him. Seriously, like he could see something like, oh wait, I need to look over here in this other direction, and man, I thought I heard somebody get dropped, but no, I didn't. Wait, how did Edge get dropped? Got dropped with a Diamond Cutter. 1, 2, 3. Canyon and DDP retain the tag team championships and hold them all the way until SummerSlam when they get destroyed. Boy, that match is going to be hard to watch. And then Taker and Kane are interviewed by Coach about SummerSlam, and Taker basically says that DDP will get laid out, and the APA are in WWF New York. That's about it. Also says that why would Canyon, a man with so much promise, align himself with DDP? And then a year and a half later, Taker would lay out Canyon and beat him viciously with a chair because he was gay. Oh, how times fucking change. Even though that's probably how Taker felt back then and probably still does. But anyway, Taz with the Alliance members, some of the Alliance members like Palumbo and O'Hare and a couple others, versus Angle with some of the WWF roster like Taker and Kane. Austin's on stage, and Angle slam in a couple minutes. 1, 2, 3. And then Angle yells at Austin to get in the ring. Austin won't get in the ring. Oh, he does. And then eventually he does. And they have a brief brawl. Gets the ankle lock on. The roster's brawl and everything. And then that's really about it right there. Angle's all fired up, and he would go on to not win the championship because they would do a bunch of ref bumps at SummerSlam 2001. Even though that match was great, goddamn, they really should have had Angle win the title there. Even though there was a really cool moment at Unforgiven the next month when he won it. Fucking hell. He should have won it at SummerSlam. So anyway, but Vince has never been known to refuse to have people win titles at SummerSlam. Oh, sorry, Lex. You're being basically neutered right here. You're having your legs cut out from under you. Oh, about that. The lights come out and then eventually come back on to signify WWE has no responsibility for what's about to happen. And it's Booker and Rock in a lights out match. It was quick. It was to the stage. Spinebuster on the ramp. And then Shane interferes. Bookend through the announcer's table. I guess Booker won. They play his music, but nobody counted. There was a referee. Nothing happened. So Booker stands tall and then loses the WCW title at SummerSlam. Lots of titles changing then. So anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.